This is an overview of the Dell Inspiron M5030 laptop. It'd be classed as a budget laptop, but considering its price, it's got a pretty decent specification. And here it is up close. So firstly, this laptop has a 15.6-inch LED screen, so it's kind of a pretty average size for a laptop really. In terms of weight, it's 2.6 kilograms, and the actual body of the laptop is made out of plastic, and as a result of that, it does feel quite fragile. You've got quite a nice pattern on the top here, which you can just about make out in the picture here. And the actual thickness of the laptop is 1.6 inches. So really, that really kind of means that this laptop isn't probably the most portable laptop you could potentially get. It's probably ideally suited for use around the home, for example. In terms of ports, all pretty standard. You've got your microphone and headphone jacks there. You've got a 3-in-1 card reader here, so you can put your SD cards in there. LED readouts on the front. On the side, you've got one USB port here, VGA connector port there, Ethernet port, 2 more USB ports, and your power connector there. And on the other side, you have a DVD rewriter drive. Opening up the laptop now, we can see there's a pretty decent size keyboard and trackpad. The keyboard itself does feel pretty plasticky to use. It's also quite noisier than some of the laptops that I've used in the past. But the keys themselves are pretty well spaced out. The trackpad here again is also quite a decent size. It's worth pointing out that this laptop doesn't come with mouse gestures as standard, so it's worth bearing that in mind. Not a big fan of the left and right mouse buttons though. You don't get a satisfying click when you press on them, so they're not the best really. And also sometimes when you're navigating you accidentally press the left mouse button, for example, without actually realizing it. Briefly to show you the keyboard up close on this laptop. It's not a backlit keyboard or anything like that, so it's worth bearing in mind. There's a couple of useful buttons. Very easy to switch between various displays with this button here. Useful to immediately tell you what your battery life is like by pressing that button. And I can't really see how it being very useful, but you can also disable your trackpad by pressing that button there. It's worth pointing out though that there is no sleep button on this laptop, which is a bit annoying because it means that to go into sleep mode you're going to have to do that through the Windows Start menu. With the laptop turned on now, the flicker that you might be able to detect when looking at this video you will not see when you're actually using this laptop. I think it's probably something to do with the refresh rate of the screen. In terms of the actual screen resolution itself, it's 1366 by 768, and that's the maximum you can get on this laptop. If you plug it into an external display, however, you can actually get a resolution of 1450 by 1050. So that's worth bearing in mind. In terms of battery life on this laptop, you're going to get around about 2 hours 20 minutes if you're using it on full brightness and you're doing something like watching video, for example. With this laptop as well, you also get, Dell give you a extended life battery plan, which if you have it enabled, that will try to manage your battery consumption and make your laptop last a little bit longer. I've tried this myself and it didn't really make that much difference. It probably gave me an extra 20 minutes or so. You probably can't detect it very well through this video, but the actual screen quality on the 5030 isn't that great. The picture does seem to be pretty washed out when you're using it. It's not a problem if you're watching films or video on the laptop, but for general looking at websites, everything does seem pretty whited out really. With regards to the specifications of the laptop, this one here comes with 3 GB of DDR3 RAM, which is pretty decent really, and that's upgradable to a maximum of 6 GB. It's got an AMD chip, and AMD processors are typically cheaper than the Intel equivalents. The graphics card is an ATI Mobility Radeon graphics card, and that's absolutely fine for most generic tasks. I don't think it will do high performance gaming, for example, but if you're just going to be doing things like web browsing and word processing, you're going to have no problems at all. Also, as you can see, it's running Windows 7 as standard. As with many laptops you get these days, it does come bloated with lots of software provided by the manufacturer. In this case it's Dell, and you probably will spend a bit of time at the start uninstalling the things you don't find necessary. So how does this laptop perform overall? Well, really it does a pretty decent job. It's fine for web browsing and for most tasks. The graphics card is an ATI Radeon one, and it does a pretty decent job of running, say, high-def video without any frame skipping. It's worth pointing out that if you do plug it into an external display and up the resolution to 1450, you might notice some frame skipping if you're running high-definition video. When the laptop was benchmark tested, it got a score of 406, which is perfectly respectable, and considering its price. And you can benchmark test laptops. I think it's at passmark.com. The only thing which is a bit of a letdown really is the battery life, and battery life isn't amazing with this laptop. I got about 2 hours 20 minutes on full brightness. Obviously you can get a higher battery life if you lower the specs down, but around about 2 hours 20 on full brightness. In terms of price, this is a very cheap laptop to buy. I mean, you can buy it brand new for around about £350, or you can buy it manufacturer refurbished for around about £250, so it's not very expensive to purchase. So that's my overview of the Dell Inspiron M5030 laptop. In conclusion, I think it's perfectly fine for generic everyday use. You know, if you just want to web surf, or you want to just do generic things like word processing, then this laptop's fine. The screen's not amazing, the build quality's not amazing, the battery life isn't amazing, but if you just want to keep it at home and just use it for generic web browsing, that sort of thing, then this laptop is ideal considering the cost. There we are. I hope you've enjoyed this overview, and if you'd like to check out some more reviews, you can go to my YouTube channel, which is TechSaver UK. Thanks.